Hello everyone. Hope you all are good and I hope that you have watched all the previous lectures thoroughly. Yes, we are having a new lecture after so many days as I was not well, and the last lecture that you had was about illustration 14. Yes, and today we are going to start with a new topic. Of course, from chapter 1, part 2, accounting for share capital. Yeah, 19th lecture. In lecture number 18, you have understood about illustration 14 that I have explained. It is obviously about forfeiture and reissue of shares. The sum was really interesting. And let us see what is our topic for today. Pro rata allotment of shares. You might be thinking that this is the new topic again. Yes, it is. After forfeiture and reissue of shares. And till date, I have not mentioned anything about this topic in any of the lectures. Yes, so a completely new topic, pro rata allotment of shares. Yes, this topic is given on page number 42 in your textbook if you are having. I'm sure you are having your textbook. Yes, this topic is given on page number 42 in your textbook. Pro rata allotment of shares. Now for understanding this topic, firstly, you need to understand about oversubscription. I have explained about oversubscription in previous lectures many a times, which simply means when the number of applications received are more compared to the number of shares issued, then it is said to be the case of oversubscription. Yes? Now what do we do generally in such case? We reject all those applications, excess applications, and the amount is refunded. Yes, this is how we do. If the number of shares issued are 50,000 and the number of applications received are 60,000, then 10,000 excess applications are rejected and the amount is refunded. But in case of pro rata allotment of shares, there is a different way to deal with the oversubscription of shares. Yes? So I'm reading. We have seen in previous point that when the number of shares applied for is more than the number of shares offered for subscription by company is said to be oversubscribed. This I have explained. Yes? In this situation, shares can be allotted by the company by any of the following alternatives. What do we usually do? We reject those applications and we refund that money. But it is having different ways to deal with. The three options are given here to deal with oversubscription of shares. Firstly, full allotment of shares against shares applied by applicants. Example, allotment of 500 shares to applicants of 500 shares. Say for example, there is a shareholder who has applied for 500 shares. Yes. So, see, generally what happens, it is not compulsory that the shareholder is allotted all the number of shares which he or she has applied for. It is possible that if a person has applied for 500 shares and the person is allotted 300 shares only, sometimes 200, 100, it depends upon the policies of company, depends upon the decision of the company. Yes. And there are many shareholders who apply for shares. So it's not necessary that always the complete number of shares are allotted to what is applied for. Say for example, Payal is a shareholder and she wants to purchase 600 shares of a company. She has applied for 600 shares. There is another person, Kirti. she has applied for 800 shares, and there is another person, Ravi, has applied for 400 shares. Yes, when the company has issued shares, these three people have applied for these many shares respectively. Now it depends upon company that how many shares are to be allotted to which shareholder. If Payal has applied for 600 shares, it is possible that Payal will be allotted only 300 shares. Kirti is allotted 400 shares instead of 800. And Mr. Ravi, who has applied for 400 shares, is allotted 300 shares only. It depends upon company. Yes? So now the question is, whenever the complete allotment of shares takes place, that means if a person has applied for 800 shares, then person will be allotted 800 shares. That is the first case that they have explained here. Yes, allotment of 500 shares to applicants of 500 shares. That simply means that whatever number of applications have been received have been allotted shares. Second option, not a single share is allotted to share applicants against their application. That means no shares are allotted to the applicants. Third, allotted shares in proportion to share applicants against their application. Allotment of 300 shares to applicants of 500 shares. So these are the three options. So as per third situation, some shares are allotted on pro rata basis to share applicants against their share application. In this situation, the excess amount received on application from applicants is utilized towards the even amount due on allotment. This simply means, see what happens is, in usual cases, the sums that we have done so far, what happens is the excess applications are rejected, yeah? But here, the option that they have taken is what? That the amount received on excess applications is not to be refunded, rather it is to be considered as an advance of allotment and further first and final call. Yes, why? Because you will return money to those people from whom, again, in future you have to collect the amount for allotment, first call and final call. Yes? So that's all about the theory concept of this topic. Further, you will understand this in a better way while solving illustration 15, which is given on page number 42 in your textbook. Yes? So the theory that we have understood till now is to be applied practically to this sum. So let us see. Yes, the question is given on page number 42. Illustration 15. I'm reading. Bharti Food Products Limited issued 80,000 equity shares to public at rupees 10 per share. Company called up the amount as under. See, the company has issued 80,000 equity shares. One share is of rupees 10. 4 with application, 3 with allotment and 3 with final call. Applications were received from public for 1,20,000 shares. Its allotment was made by company as under. See, applications have been received for 1,20,000 shares. So in simple case, what is to be done? 40,000 applications are to be rejected. This is what we do usually in each and every sum, isn't it? But here, the terms and conditions are different. Full allotment to applicants of 32,000 shares. Not a single share to 24,000 shares. 48 shares were allotted to applicants of 64,000 shares. Yes, the calculation is given, of course, below. I mean, at the end of your sum that I will explain. But you see, the three cases, all the three cases have been covered here. See, 32,000 if we are talking about, then consider it with this point. 32,000 have been allotted 32,000 shares. 24,000, not a single share. Then, applicants of 64,000 is allotted 48,000 shares. Yes? So, overall allotment of shares, if you will see, 32,000 plus 48,000. 30 plus 40, 70. 72,000 plus 8,000, 80,000. Which is this 80,000. Yes? Obviously, the company has issued 80,000 equity shares. And further they say, applications are received for 1,20,000 shares. Yes? And how do they deal with that? Full allotment to applicants of 32,000 shares. Not a single share to 24,000 shares. But you see a point here. If you will compare 80 and 120, excess applications are 40,000. That means they were not supposed to allot a single share to 40,000 shares. Instead, they have not allotted only to 24,000 shares. And they have allotted 48,000 shares to applicants of 64,000 shares. So this simply means that the remaining has been kept as advance. Okay? So, all the amounts were received in time. Past journal entries in the books of company from above information. Let us see the first journal entry that has been presented on your screen. First journal entry, which is always same. Bank account debit to equity share application account, 4,80,000 shares. 1,20,000 shares and 4 rupees each. So 4,80,000 rupees. Yes? Of course, this is the first journal entry and this cannot be changed. Application money has been received over 1,20,000 equity shares. 4 rupees of application. So 1,20,000 into 4 is 4,80,000 when application money is received. Bank account debit to equity share application account. Now, talking about second journal entry, understand. In second journal entry, we are going to apply everything. And then the sum is simple. Yeah? Okay, firstly, we are going to transfer the amount of 80,000 shares to share capital account, isn't it? Yes? Then, the 24,000 shares which are rejected. And about this, that applicants of 64 were allotted 48,000 shares. We have to deal with this. So firstly, equity share application account debit 4,80,000 to equity share capital account 80,000 into 4. Obviously, the simple thing, number of shares issued and the amount transferred to share capital account received for application. This is the normal thing. This is the regular normal. Now talking about remaining shares. See, how many shares were in excess? 40,000. And how many are rejected? Only 24,000. Here it is clearly written. So once you know that how many shares have been rejected, how many you were supposed to reject? 40,000. You have rejected only 24,000. That means how much advance have you kept? 16,000. 16,000 can also be obtained as the difference of 64 and 48. But all I'm trying to say is that those 16,000 shares, the amount received on those shares is kept as an advance of allotment. Yes? Because there is no point in returning the amount to those people from whom again we have to call up the amount of allotment, first call and final call. Simple? So 80,000 to be transferred to share capital account. 24,000 shares have been rejected instead of 40,000. So 40,000 minus 24,000 gives you 16,000. So the shares that you have not rejected are considered as an advance of allotment. So 16,000 into 4. Now you might be thinking, ma'am, why you have considered 4? You are taking application money. Because the money has been received with application and not for allotment. These people have applied for shares. They have paid application money. How much they have paid? 64,000. So 64,000 rupees is considered as an advance of allotment. You cannot say, ma'am, multiply allotment money here. No. These people have paid for application and I am converting it in allotment. So the amount is received rupees 4 with application only. Yes. And further, 24,000 shares have been rejected. Let us read the narration for better understanding. Being transferred share application money to equity share capital account for 80,000 allotted shares at rupees 4 per share. Refund money on 24,000 shares at rupees 4 per share. Here. And excess amount of applicants of 16,000 to share allotment account at rupees 4 per share. Alright. And now the sum is simple. Once we are done with the step of application, the next step is of allotment. When allotment money becomes due. Yes? So what is the journal entry when allotment money becomes due? Equity share allotment account debit to equity share capital account. 2,40,000 shares. 80,000 into 3, which gives you 2,40,000 rupees, not shares. Okay? Now simply we are supposed to consider 80,000 only. Yes? Okay. So once allotment money becomes due, the next step is about receipt of allotment money. So when allotment money is received, what is the journal entry? Bank account debit to equity share allotment account. Now this journal entry is about receipt of allotment money, isn't it? But from this already 64,000 have been received. So how much you are going to receive now? 1,76,000 only. 2,40,000 minus 64,000, the advance that we have kept in the second journal entry, this. Yes, we were actually supposed to return this money, but we have allotted shares on pro rata basis. So in that case, you don't return money. Instead, you keep it as a advance for the next call. And that is what we have done here. So 64,000 is already received, so you cannot ask for it again. So obviously, 2,40,000 minus 64,000 and you will only receive 1,76,000 now. Okay? Fine. Next, what becomes due is shares final call, of course. So shares final call account debit to equity share capital account. This is the normal journal entry when final call becomes due. Simply, when share final call becomes due, the journal entry is always shares final call account debit to share capital account. How many shares? Of course, 80,000 shares. How much is the amount for final call? Is given in the question. 3 rupees. So 80,000 into 3. 2,40,000 rupees becomes due for shares final call. Yes? This is the step after allotment Once share final call becomes due, the next step is the receipt of shares final call. There is no twist. There is no problem with shares final call. It is just simple. The way we had been doing all the previous sums. There was a change only in second journal entry, nothing else. Yes, so the sum is extremely simple. There is no need of getting confused here at any point. Yes? Okay, so final call money is received. Bank account debit to shares final call 2,40,000 simply. Yes? And here is the calculation. See, number of share applications, amount paid on application, shares allotted, transfer to share application, allotment, final call, amount refunded. So let us understand the question from the very beginning. See, number of shares issued were 80,000. Applications received were 1,20,000. Yes? So, applicants of 32,000 were given 32,000 shares. So 32,000 into 4, 1,28,000, 1,28,000. 24,000 applicants were not allotted a single share. But obviously, they have paid application money. So 24,000 into 4, 96,000, they have paid with application, which has been returned to them. Now, applicants of 64,000 shares. Obviously, they have also paid application money. So 64,000 into 4 gives you 2,56,000. But shares allotted to them are only 48,000. So 48,000 into 4, 1,92,000 has been transferred to share application account. And remaining has been transferred to share allotment account. This is not returned to them. But instead, that amount is considered as an advance of allotment and has been transferred to share allotment account. Yes, so 1,92,000 plus 64,000 gives you 2,56,000. Yes, so that's all about this sum. This is the calculation that they have presented very precisely. The sum is extremely simple, very easy. Pro rata allotment of shares. What you do in this case is just that in case of oversubscription of shares, you do not reject them fully. Instead, you allot shares on pro rata basis and the amount is kept as advance of allotment. And if the amount is still more, then it is to be transferred to first and final call ahead. But that was not the case in this illustration. Yes, here the amount was just adjusted to allotment. Yes, there did not arise any need of transferring it further to any of the calls. Yes, it was simply adjusted to allotment, and hence at the time of receipt of allotment money, that amount was deducted. Because you cannot ask from the same person the amount twice. If you did not return the amount to that person and it was kept as an advance of allotment, then you are not supposed to receive it for the second time because you already have it with you. Yes, you already have 64,000 for allotment received at the time of application. Yes, so you just have changed the mode of allotment of shares. There's nothing new in this. Yes? And the topic is extremely simple and easy. So, in today's lecture, we have understood about a new topic, which is pro rata allotment of shares. This is the theory. You should read this. Then we have started with illustration 15, which is given on page number 42. Here the question is, And in these 3 sentences, all the 3 cases are covered, these 3 points. Further, these are the journal entries, of which second journal entry is most important of all. Yes? So, further, there are journal entries till final call. Journal entry number 5 and 6 has no change, nothing new. Only journal entry number 2 was new, and journal entry number 4, we have just deducted the amount of allotment which was kept as advance. And at the end, precise and well calculation of the entire question is presented. Yes, so that's all. Let us see what is your homework for today. Is the same illustration which is given on page number 42 that I have explained in today's lecture. Yes, we do have sums of similar kind in the exercise that I'll be giving you in homework in the next or coming sessions. Yes, so that's all for today. We'll see you soon in the next lecture. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and of course, study well.